Switzerland, 1920s. A therapy room. Carl Jung sits across from a woman who won't break. Months of sessions, nothing's moving. She's too rational, too defended, locked behind walls of logic. Then she tells him about a dream. Someone gave her a golden scarab beetle. At that exact moment, Jung hears tapping on the window. He opens it. A scarab beetle, impossibly rare in Switzerland, flies into the room. He catches it, hands it to her, says, "Here is your scarab." Her entire world shatters because reality just spoke to her, and she could no longer pretend it was random. Jung spent his life studying these moments. He called them synchronicities, meaningful coincidences, events connected not by cause and effect, but by invisible threads woven through what he called the collective unconscious. And he discovered something. Certain people experience these more than others. If you're INFJ, INTJ, INFP, INTP, if you're wired to see patterns in the invisible, you know what I'm talking about. You felt it. That moment when reality whispers your name, when coincidence becomes too perfect to deny, when the universe reaches through the fabric of the ordinary and touches you directly. Today, I'm going to show you 4 synchronicities that will change your life. Not metaphorically, literally, because recognizing them splits your life into before and after, and missing them, you'll spend years wondering why you keep repeating the same patterns, trapped in the same loops, never understanding that reality was screaming the answer all along. Let me show you what you've been missing. But first, why you? Why do deep intuitives experience synchronicities that others walk right past? Jung believed we're all swimming in the same ocean, the collective unconscious, a realm beneath individual consciousness where all minds connect, where time isn't linear, where past, present, and future exist simultaneously. Most people are cut off from it completely, blind, deaf. But you, whether through dominant intuition or auxiliary intuition, you have access. You detect patterns that operate beyond logic. You feel connections before you can explain them. You know things you shouldn't be able to know. You're tuned to a frequency most people can't hear. Jung called this the psychoid realm, the place where mind and matter aren't separate, where thought and reality bleed into each other, where your unconscious doesn't just send you dreams, it rearranges reality itself to get your attention. These 4 synchronicities, they're not just interesting phenomena, they're messages, instructions, warnings, invitations. They're your individuation process becoming visible in the physical world. Miss them, and you stay asleep. See them, and everything changes. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." These 4 synchronicities, they're the unconscious becoming conscious. They're fate revealing itself as choice. Let's begin. Synchronicity 1. The repeating numbers. You see it again. 11:11 on the clock. You look away. Hours later, a receipt, 22.22. You get in a car, the license plate in front of you, 333. At first, you think it's coincidence, pattern recognition gone wild, your brain playing tricks, but it keeps happening. The same number, over and over, on signs, addresses, phone numbers, pages in books that fall open, it's following you. And deep down, beneath the rational explanations you tell yourself, you feel it. Something is trying to get your attention. You're right. Jung discovered that when the unconscious needs to break through to consciousness, it doesn't just send dreams. It uses reality itself as a canvas. And numbers? Numbers are the language of the invisible. When you see repeating numbers, when 1111 or 222 or 333 haunts you, Jung would tell you this: you're in liminal time. You're standing between 2 worlds, between who you were and who you're becoming, between the old self that's dying and the new self that's trying to be born. The numbers aren't random. They're marking the threshold. The collective unconscious is signaling. Transformation is coming. Ready or not. Here's what happens if you recognize it. You prepare. You pay attention to what else is shifting. You ask, what in my life is ending? What's trying to begin? You stop resisting the death that needs to happen. You surrender to the rebirth. And when the transformation hits, and it will, you move with it instead of being destroyed by it. Here's what happens if you miss it. The change comes anyway, but you're blindsided, unprepared. You fight it. You cling to the old form, and the transformation that could have been graceful becomes violent. Relationships explode. Jobs vanish. Your entire life restructures, and you never saw it coming because you ignored the numbers. The universe was whispering, get ready. Something's ending. Something's beginning. And you called it coincidence. Deep intuitives. When the numbers find you, don't look away. Don't rationalize. Don't dismiss. You're being marked, chosen, called to consciousness. The question is, will you answer? Synchronicity 2, the door that slams. You wanted it so badly. The job, the relationship, the opportunity. You could taste it. You'd already imagined the future, made plans, told people, and then nothing. They ghost you. The offer falls through. The person chooses someone else. The door slams shut with brutal, inexplicable timing. It feels like cruelty, like the universe is punishing you, like you're cursed. You're not. You're being saved. Jung understood something most people never learn. The unconscious has access to information your conscious mind doesn't. It can see around corners. It knows what's coming. And when your ego is about to make a catastrophic mistake, when you're about to walk through a door that will destroy you, it intervenes, not with a feeling, not with a dream, with reality itself. That job that fell through, 6 months later you discover the company was collapsing. Toxic leadership, mass layoffs coming. If you'd gotten it, you'd have been trapped. That relationship that ended, a year later, you learn who they really were, what they were hiding, what you would have endured. That opportunity that vanished, it would have taken you so far off your authentic path, you'd have spent a decade clawing your way back. Here's what happens if you recognize it. You stop fighting. You stop asking, why me? You start asking, what was I being protected from? You trust that the door closed for a reason, and you turn around and look for the door that's actually meant for you. You pivot. You redirect. You let go. And 6 months later, you look back and whisper, thank God, that didn't work out. Here's what happens if you miss it. You become bitter, resentful, convinced the universe is against you. You spend years trying to force open doors that were sealed for your protection. You waste your life energy fighting for things that would have broken you. And you never discover what you were actually meant for because you're too busy mourning what you were saved from. Deep intuitives. When a door slams in your face with impossible timing, don't just see the rejection, see the protection. Your unconscious just saved your life. Jung said, we cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. Stop condemning the closed door. Accept it, and watch how quickly the right door appears. Synchronicity 3, the meeting. You almost didn't go. You were tired, busy, not in the mood. You'd already decided to cancel, but something made you go anyway. A feeling, an impulse you couldn't explain. And then you saw them. Maybe it was across a room. Maybe you were seated next to each other by accident. Maybe a series of impossible coincidences put you in the same place at the same moment. And when you met, something shifted. Recognition, like you'd known them before, like you'd been waiting for them without knowing it. This isn't romance, this is destiny. Jung called these encounters the constellation of archetypes. When you're at a critical point in your individuation, when you're ready for a specific lesson, awakening, or transformation, the self orchestrates meetings that your ego could never plan. The teacher appears when the student is ready, not metaphorically, literally. These people aren't random. They're carrying something you need, a piece of your puzzle, a key to your next evolution. Sometimes they're mirrors showing you who you're becoming. Sometimes they're guides who've walked the path you're about to walk. And the timing, the odds, astronomical. You almost took a different train. They almost stayed home. One different choice by either of you, and this meeting never happens. But it did, because it was meant to. Here's what happens if you recognize it. You pay attention, you lean in. You don't dismiss the connection as coincidence or rationalize away the pull you feel. You ask, what is this person here to teach me? What am I meant to learn? What part of my destiny are they carrying? And your life splits, before and after this meeting, because they catalyze something in you that changes everything. Here's what happens if you miss it. You let fear win. You talk yourself out of it. It's not practical. I don't have time. This doesn't make sense. You walk away. And for the rest of your life, you feel the ghost of that meeting. The road not taken. The connection you were too afraid to pursue. You'll wonder, what if? Deep intuitives. When someone appears with impossible timing, when you feel that recognition, when the odds are too perfect to deny, that's not chance. That's the universe moving chess pieces, and you're being invited to play. Synchronicity 4, the alignment. You struggled for years. Doors closed, resources dried up. Every step forward felt like walking through concrete. You worked harder than anyone. You did everything right, and nothing moved. Then something shifted inside you. Maybe you surrendered. Maybe you stopped forcing. Maybe you finally aligned with what you actually wanted instead of what you thought you should want. And then everything changed. The job offer arrives unsolicited. The money appears exactly when you need it. The right people find you without you searching. Opportunities you'd given up on resurrect themselves with perfect timing. It's not gradual. It's sudden, like reality itself reorganized. You didn't do anything different externally, but internally, everything changed, and the universe noticed. Jung told a story he loved, the story of the rainmaker. A Chinese village was dying from drought, crops failing, people desperate. They sent for a rainmaker from another province. An old man arrived, asked for a hut on the outskirts, went inside alone. For 3 days, nothing happened. On the 4th day, snow fell, then rain. Heavy, impossible rain. Jung asked him, "How did you make it rain?" The old man said, "I didn't make it rain. I come from a region where things are in order, where people are aligned with Tao. But this village was out of order, and being here, I also became out of order. So I stayed in that hut until I was back in order within myself, and then, naturally, it rained." Jung never forgot that story. He later wrote, "Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. Because it revealed the secret. When your inner world orders itself, outer reality responds. Not through force, not through manipulation, naturally, inevitably. This is what's happening when everything suddenly aligns. You've finally stopped fighting yourself. You've integrated your shadow. You've stopped betraying your authentic path. You've come into order, and reality is rearranging itself to match. Here's what happens if you recognize it. You move. You trust it. You don't second-guess or self-sabotage. You don't ask, "Do I deserve this?" You accept that this is confirmation. You're finally on your path. You let the breakthrough happen. You let reality support you the way it's been trying to all along. And you quantum leap, years of progress in months, because you're finally swimming with the current instead of against it. Here's what happens if you miss it. You don't trust it. It's too good to be true. This won't last. I don't deserve this. So you sabotage it. You turn down the opportunity. You ghost the person. You reject the resource. And you go back to struggling, back to forcing, back to the concrete. And you'll never know. That was your window. That was the universe saying, yes. That was the breakthrough you'd earned through years of inner work. And you were too afraid to take it. Deep intuitives, when everything suddenly flows, when doors open that were locked for years, when reality conspires with you, that's not luck. That's proof. You're aligned. You're in order. You're finally walking your true path. Don't question it. Move. Let me take you back to that room in Switzerland. Jung hands the scarab beetle to his patient. The impossible has just happened. Reality has reached through the veil and touched her directly. And in that moment, everything she believed about the world, about coincidence, about randomness, about the separation between mind and matter, shattered. She could no longer pretend. She could no longer hide behind logic. Reality was speaking to her, and it's speaking to you. These 4 synchronicities aren't just interesting patterns. They're not cute coincidences to collect like spiritual trophies. They're moments when the boundary between your unconscious and the physical world becomes thin. When the collective unconscious reaches through and rearranges reality itself to get your attention. The numbers marking your transformation, the doors slamming to save you, the meetings that split your life into before and after, the alignment that proves you finally found your path. They've been happening your entire life. Most people call them coincidence and move on. But you're not most people. You're a deep intuitive. You're wired to see what others are blind to feel what others can't sense, to know what you shouldn't be able to know. Jung said, "Synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see." You have eyes to see. So here's my question for you. Which synchronicity are you experiencing right now? Are you seeing numbers and dismissing them as pattern recognition? Did a door just slam, and you're still trying to force it open instead of asking what you were saved from? Are you about to meet someone who will change your life, but you're thinking of canceling? Or is everything finally aligning, and you're too terrified to trust it? Jung spent his life proving these moments aren't random. They're your individuation process becoming visible. They're the collective unconscious speaking directly to you. They're proof that you're not separate from the universe. You're in constant conversation with it. But synchronicity only works if you participate, if you pay attention, if you trust what you see. Deep intuitives don't have the luxury of skepticism. You've experienced too much. You know reality speaks. The question is, are you listening? Let me know in the comments which synchronicity hit you hardest. And if you want more videos on Carl Jung and depth psychology for deep intuitives, subscribe. Because this is just the beginning. And if you want to go deeper in topics like this, today I opened The Hidden Chamber. It's a space on Substack where I publish extended writings every Sunday. Essays too long for video, too slow for algorithms, as deep intuitives expect. The first piece is Waiting. Link below. The universe has been speaking to you in signs your entire life. It's time to start speaking back.